So we're kind of wrapping up our camp mode, if you would. We still got a little bit left here at the end of the week, but pretty much transitioning out of that, and then we'll transition to some opponent preparation. Did just a tad of that today, and just some introductory stuff and more game type situations. So that's kind of where we're at. Starters are still kind of fuzzy, and I'll know more probably next Tuesday. The good news is I think we have good competition, and our depth situation I think is a little better maybe in most areas than it's been, so that's encouraging. And then the other element is we'll probably know a little bit more next week about first year guys who might be in, might be out, and probably a few of those will be, maybe start out with a 4-game deal and then just see what it looks like as we go. So that's kind of the deal there. And then just specifically, I'll cite an example, give you an illustration, which nobody will be interested in, but I think it's kind of representative of our team. Just standing out here thinking today about, a guy like Jeremy Chaplin, thinking about, Asher Fahey, and, a guy like Dotzler. We really had our time practicing with those guys with our twos last year in spring ball. It was hard. And right now those guys are so improved. I think that's the beauty of the game. Opportunity to improve in all three of those guys. Just to cite, I could name other guys, but they've really taken advantage of that opportunity, and they're looking like football players out there. So it's kind of encouraging, and that's kind of what we're hoping to see with all of our guys, see the growth and development, and that's really what the game's all about. So that's first thing. Secondly, this is obviously the first week of class, and the weather cooperated right with it, predictably. So it's really kind of good. I think I personally like having a week, not bye week, but have a week we're not competing yet. In that first week, so everybody can get, in a routine. They get used to going to class, traveling campus, getting their new schedule done, because it's entirely different than camp, where it's all football, it's all meetings, basically we're in a short area now. At least they're out navigating like every other student on campus, so it's good for them to have a week of getting ready for that. And then Sunday we'll officially transition into our game week mode, so that's kind of where that's at. And then the last thing, I'll just touch on the gambling situation. We did get feedback from the NCAA. So just as I've been saying, we have a handful of guys involved, and really there's kind of 3 different levels, if you will. You have a couple guys that are, I think, looking at serious consequences potentially. You've got a couple guys that are looking at suspensions, and then another guy who's in an appeal state, and I can't really comment because the other players haven't given me permission, but knows it's been a topic of conversation. And right now he does have a year suspension, the season suspension, and we definitely are going to appeal that. The department will appeal that. I'm confident Beth will do a great job, and the department will do a great job of reapproaching this with the NCAA. And my personal feelings, again, it's really hard you can't negotiate the game integrity. So if someone bets on our sport, tough to say much beyond that. But after that, I think it really needs to be rethought a little bit. I strongly believe that. And I'm hoping the appeal maybe will reflect some people rethinking things a little bit. We live in a totally different world than we did 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And in Noah's case, he has not committed a crime at all. So nothing criminal, and I just feel like it's a little bit harsh. I think it's punitive, me personally. And I'm hopeful that they'll reconsider his case. And I won't say I'm confident, but I would assume at some point they're going to reshape what they announced back late April and early May in terms of the policy moving forward, just because similar to the drug testing policy, it's radically different than it was 2 years ago, and our culture is radically different as a country. So, I'm hopeful that they'll catch up maybe in their thinking a little bit as it pertains to Noah. And again, I can't say enough about him, and it just, he could commit a lot of other crimes. He hasn't committed a crime. He could commit crimes and get a lot less of a punishment, which seems kind of funny in some ways. And last thing I'll just run there for commentary, I still find highly unusual or interesting that there's 2 major universities affected in the whole country on this topic, and I can't imagine these are the only two universities that have students gambling. Can't imagine that. And I understand the rules. I get all that, but anyway. So that's the end of that one. I'll stop there and throw it out for questions.
So have you asked about that? About why just Iowa? Have you asked anyone that knows more about this?
Yeah, I wouldn't know who to ask, quite frankly. I think that's if you guys got some time, maybe you want to chase that one down a little bit. I think it'd be probably interesting. It just, I guess it's our bad luck, because as far as I understand, it's a state thing. Why those 2 universities only were targeted? There's college students at all kinds of universities. Sounds like it's only athletes. That's just my impression. It's only athletes. That's a interesting question too, an interesting dynamic. And my guess is we could probably fill, maybe not Phil Kinnick, we couldn't fill Kinnick, but probably could fill Kinnick with all the college student athletes or students that have gambled. And again, I understand we're compliant to the NCAA rules. I get that, but I just think probably needs to be rethought a little bit and modernized.
With Noah, did the NCAA give you any rationale for why it was so severe?
I've seen nothing in writing. Yeah, so I know he bet on one of our other sports teams here, and I understand that that may be a bad thing. He bet for them, and I'm guessing he got caught up in the emotion. And again, I just I don't do this stuff, but it's on their phones. People are enticing him with apparently $300 a credit if you go with us. All that stuff. I think it's just time to really recognize the world these guys are living in, and maybe be a little bit compassionate towards that.
So how's the appeal? Like he can't play until the appeal is done?
Yeah, clearly he can't play. He's allowed to be with us, but
okay.
Yeah, he can't play, and I get that, and I'm fully on board there. And I expect it to be multi-games if they do rethink it. So I'm hopeful it will be, because here's a guy who's 23 years old. He's given his heart and soul and some body parts to the program too. So yeah, I'd just like to think he'd be allowed to finish out his career, and love to have him with us here through the end of it.
No names, of course. Two of your players have been arrested for along these lines, or both are former walk-ons, and then I think there are two others that are facing suspension.
Yep.
Are they the suspensions, at least the ones who are arrested, do you expect them to have multi-games? Are they at this point?
Yeah, I can say this. They're both multi-games. One's longer than the other, and I'm sure that's based on whatever criteria they based it on. And yeah, we'll live with that. And if there is an appeal process, I haven't seen any in writing. So if it merits appeal, we'll do that. But my bigger focus would be on Noah right now. And I just know the one thing you can't do is bet on our team. I get that totally, and I think hopefully everybody would have gotten that.
Are you expecting it to be like 2 for one and 4 for the other, or 4 for 6? Or
yeah, I can't really get into that until the players can release it. I guess we really can't talk about it.
Will Noah kind of, no matter what, will he be like on the sideline part of the practices, or what does he want to do?
He's with us right now. He's rehabbing, and was actually starting practice. So we just got to figure this out. But as we move forward now, we got to get our team ready too, and everybody understands that. So I want to keep him involved with the team. I'm just looking at it from a different standpoint, maybe a little more humanistic. And been with Noah for 5 years. I have great respect for him and appreciation for him. I think everybody on our team does. So the more he's around, the better. But if the NCAA tells us he can't be, then that's the way it goes.
So while he's rehabbing his injury, is there anything about the suspension that keeps him away from the team?
No, right now he's in the building, out of the building until they tell us he can't be.
Got it.
Yeah, and that might be the case with some other players. So we'll abide by whatever the NCAA tells us is how to do things. I've never had any experience in this, quite frankly.
Kirk, do you have any update on Cade and if he's going to go?
Yeah. On the medical front, I didn't touch on that, I guess, but the bad news this week, guys not practicing like you'd expect week 3 of camp. But the good news is I think everybody realistically has a chance to start working into this week. Certainly next Monday when we hit the field, thinking about our opponent. So, hopefully that's the case. We've been fortunate, and we avoided one potential landmine on Saturday. It didn't look good, and then got good news Monday after an MRI. So everybody so far at least has got a chance here to move forward, and that's good news. Outside of Jeff Bowie, I think I mentioned that last time maybe, or did I? I lost track of it. Jeff he's going to miss a significant time with an injury, so that's the one negative here.
So you feel like he's going to play week 1?
Jeff or
Cade McNamara?
We'll know more at the end of the week, but I'm really optimistic, and we'll see.
I know you don't want to lose Cade for any stretch, but
No.
to get Deacon reps with the ones is some sort of benefit.
Yeah, it is. It's been great, and Joe, I think will be back here at the end of the week too. It's been great of both those guys, because Marco's been getting the 2s, and he's done a nice job. So yeah, you always look for a positive, and that has been the positive. And you think about him; he hasn't played since 20, which I think he was in high school then. So there's just it's like anybody, you got to operate and you got to go. And I can say the same thing about Cade. Cade needs work with our team right now because he basically was out last fall. So there's that timing part, and not to be anti 7-on-7, but I do hate 7-on-7. Okay, the proliferation of 7-on-7, guys can't take a snap under center, and it's not real football, because in real football guys are rushing you, and if they hit you, they might really hit you, and we don't tackle our guys. I'm starting to think maybe we should have the quarterbacks, just to give them the sense that it's real out there. These guys are going to try to knock your head off if they can. So, but anyway, yeah, all this practice is going to be. It's been helpful for him, and Cade needs some too.
has he been able to practice at all, or is it just kind of minor?
No, basically it's it's been a recovery process, and they got a procedure for it. So hopefully at the end of the week he can start doing some things. I think everything looks like it's on schedule, so that's encouraging.
He's a tough guy. I mean,
yeah,
you expect him to fight through.
I'm not worried about
whatever it
that.
is.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm not worried about that at all. It's just, Mother Nature takes part too, and that's always been the case with injuries. As tough as a guy might be, and certain guys can do certain things in certain positions, but quarterback needs his legs for sure.
Have you settled on a best 5 up front offensive?
No, that's good. It's a positive. We're still moving guys around, and I think it's a real positive because it's not because we're not sure. I think we got some guys who are really competing well, and at some point we got to pull that together down. Pull it down to 7-8 guys and get a game day rotation going. But no, we haven't settled on anything yet. We've got a really open mind.
Are you open to rotating guys like a guard? Like
Oh yeah, absolutely. If they can pro show, they can play. Yeah, absolutely.
More generally, Cade, you had mentioned his leadership. Is there anything like kind of behind the scenes, like maybe we wouldn't have seen where you just saw him do something like you realize just how good he is?
Yeah, you get the feeling. First of all, I got the feeling a year and a half ago. Certain players just, you really, it's like when you talk to the pro guys. You talk to the guys about guys on other teams. Certain guys you just notice. Typically really good players you do. And I was just, it's a matter of record. Like that team wasn't real good in 20. We were getting ready to play them in 20, and the plug got pulled on it. But so we had a good few of them there. And I know it's a pandemic, but you still got to play. So you are what you are. And then watching them in 21, we were extremely impressed, and we weren't playing them. They were just on crossover film. Couldn't help but be impressed. Part of that's the guys playing. It's not just coaching, but players play too, and it's so it was really apparent to us that we got to compete against them, and you're on the field with them. So you had a good feeling, not having any clue that a year later, we're going to have a conversation with him about coming here. And since he's been here, he's just been he's taken ownership. He's been one of us, and he's jumped in there and acts like a guy you would hope, who's got some seniority and who's got some experience. Yet he's been respectful too, that he hasn't done anything here yet, and he knows that. But he's anxious to compete. That's just how he's wired, and that's a good thing for us, I think.
How's your depth in the How's their depth in the secondary right now? You've had some young guys who are second-year guys competing. Deshaun Lee and Glenn Entringer and TJ Hall in particular.
Yeah, I think we're moving forward, and that's probably there right now. That's I think we'll be able to put a starting lineup out there that's pretty okay, ready to play, and then developing the depth and seeing who's going to emerge is really the key thing. And I don't know how it came up. Dallas Clark was here last week, and we're just talking about things. I forgot that we had to throw Benny Sapp in. We had a pretty good team in 02, pretty veteran team, and all of a sudden Benny's in there. Not Benny, but Antoine had to take Benny's spot, and we really didn't have an answer for that. But had to do what you had to do, and next thing you know, the Antoine's in there, and we found a way to keep winning. So I think that's maybe there might be some parallels at that position. It's probably the position where we're still trying to develop guys, younger players that haven't played a lot. And you mentioned Cohen too in the back end and in the middle there. We're probably a little deeper at the secondary, the safety positions, but the corner spot's probably the one where we need the most work.
Is there one that stands out right now?
No, they're all doing a good job. Yeah, they're all doing a good job. Deshaun's done a nice job, and TJ, and so it's been good. Yeah.
Kirk, do you ever think you're dealing with an uneven playing field if other states aren't investigating this gambling stuff?
Yeah, it's obvious, right? I can't imagine we're the only state where college kids bet. I just can't imagine that. Seriously. And it's like rounding up 20-year-olds that had a beer. So, that would feel Kennick. I know that. And so, for whatever reason, we're the lucky ones. We're the chosen ones, We just got to really benefit from this whole deal. And I'm really not sure what the point was. And I have a respect for the law. Don't misunderstand that. I have high respect for the law. But I'm not sure I understand, what happened. So, but that's not the issue. The issue is if somebody bet on us. That to me is the issue, and that is an issue, and nobody's running from that. Totally on that. Just like anything else. Nobody's running from that one.
How have you seen guys deal with the heat this week, and how have you been able to stay cool with it?
Yeah, today's really the only day. The first Saturday you guys were at was the first time we worked in sunlight, and it was in the 80s. Today's the first day. Like today's hot right now. But we've been practicing, we're on the field at 8 o'clock, so it's really not a big deal. hasn't been a deal at all.
Cooper, Dejan, and Nico didn't play in the kids' day scrimmage. How are they looking?
They're doing fine. Yeah, Cooper's back working, and Nico's close, and expect him Friday, Saturday to get some work. So, and not that you want anybody hurt, but when a guy's 28 years old, at least he knows how to play.
Coach, how have you seen Cade overcome adversity in the last few weeks?
He's just wired that way. It's natural to him. He's a very competitive guy. He's a very positive guy and very strong-willed. And I've always felt like, and going back to the nature part, like you can only do so much. Like if you got a broken bone, it's got to heal. I totally get that. But my experience is guys, mental toughness really helps guys get back to the field faster. And some are more wired that way than others. So that's certainly not something he's lacking. And there's no question he wants to be out there. So keep going here. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Is AJ Lawson on the team anymore?
He's not. No, he's part of our program.
Okay.
And our commitment to him is graduating right now. We had a discussion back in July, and he just came in and he just wants to focus on finishing his degree, and should be able to do that next July or August, actually, or first week of August. So that's our target. Great young guy, and he's trying to balance both. He was having a hard time, and I told him a while back, really the only thing I care about, and it's true with every one of our guys, is them walking away with a degree. We're committed to that. He's committed to that, and we're going to continue to support him.
Anybody put on scholarship?
Luke Elkin. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I think that puts us at 85, I think. So, yep.
Okay, what has Luke done that's really stood out to you to put him on scholarship?
He's been spectacular since he's got here. Just consistent, dependable, great team guy. And he can cover too. He's an athlete, So I don't think we'll put a snapper around pass in, but might throw it to him. You never know. You see, he's a really good. He's just been super. So he's everything. And we've been so lucky with deep snappers, for 25 years now, and just glad he's on our team.